Your church might be dying and you don't even know it. I've consulted with dozens of churches around the world, and here's what breaks my heart. Most pastors are often measuring the wrong things while their church slowly declines. Today, I'm revealing the 5 signs that actually determine if your church is healthy or heading towards death. And sign number 3 is the one almost every pastor misses, but it predicts your church's future better than any other metric. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly where your church stands: healthy, surviving, or dying. Plus, I'll give you a free download to help you analyze not just 5 metrics, but 12 metrics. It'll really cut through the confusion and show you the reality of where your church is at. But here's the 5 signs, and most churches only track 1 or 2 of them. And the first one is visitor flow and first impressions. Let's start with what I call the death detector: your visitor numbers. A church without new visitors is already dying. It just doesn't know it yet. And here's the brutal truth: healthy churches see consistent visitor flow. And you need to count your first time visitors every month and compare them to your average attendance. If it's less than 5% new faces monthly, your church is already suffocating. Think about it. Jesus said, "Go and make disciples," but dying churches wait and hope. So here's the action step for you. Start counting this Sunday. How many first time visitors do you have in your service? And you add that data month by month to give you a clear picture. And this truth may hurt you, but denial will kill your church. But getting visitors is only the beginning. Sign number 2, the 65% serving rule. Sign number 2 separates dying churches from thriving ones. In a healthy, small, and medium sized church, at least 65% of regular adult attendance need to be actively serving. In dying churches, it's usually under 30%. Why does this predict death or health? Because spectator Christianity is terminal. Paul writes in Philippians about considering others' needs, putting them ahead of your own. That requires involvement, not observation. Imagine that in a church of 100 adults, at least 65 people should be serving somewhere in that church. We visited a mega church years ago here in Australia, and one of the pastors there told us that if a person is not serving or in a small group within their first 12 months of attending the church, 93% of them leave the church. Oh my goodness. So here's a big truth: people who serve stay, people who watch leave. What's your church like? So begin to count it. What percentage have served in the last 6 months versus just showed up? Feeling stuck as a church leader? Growing your church doesn't have to be overwhelming. The Hub gives you step-by-step roadmaps to grow a healthy church in just 20 minutes a day. Join the hundreds of church leaders who found their breakthrough by accessing my 4 decades of ministry experience, which delivers genuine results. Start your free 14-day trial today at growahealthychurch.com/hub. Now, for sign number 3, the one I think too many pastors completely miss: the age balance indicator. And this is it. This sign predicts whether you'll exist in 10 years or whether you'll be in steep, severe decline. Compare your church's median age to your community's median age. If your church is 15 years older than your community, you may be in risk of dying. You may actually be on life support already. Don't ignore this, even if it's an uncomfortable truth to face. Healthy ratios tend to be around on a Sunday service. 70% of those in the building are adults, 10% are in that teenage bracket, and 20% are children. No young families? Well, you're on the way to extinction. I worked with one church, and when I came to the church and preached there on a Sunday and consulted with them, I looked across the Sunday service, and they averaged 60 to 80 people in the Sunday service. And you know how many children in the service? 0. Actually, I think there might have been 2. And they had a little table and chairs at the back of the auditorium set up just in case some children turned up. And I thought, this church is in decline and is on its way to its death without young families, without children, unless you're in a completely retirement village, retirement home, region, and town, and all the people there are 50 plus. Keep an eye out for this. And I think pastors miss this because Sunday looks full, but full of what? Check the gray hair ratio. Now, nothing wrong with gray hairs in, in a church, but it's important that you count your Sunday attendance by the decades. Those under teenagers, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and even the 90s. The truth might shock you, but if it makes you uncomfortable, wait until you see sign number 4, the baptism benchmark. Sign 4 reveals if you're making disciples or just maintaining members. Now, the benchmark that I utilize, I got from the Unstuck group, great consulting folks in the US of A, and they say that 7 to 9% of your average attendance, you should be baptizing those numbers every year. So if your average attendance in a year is 100, you should be baptizing at least 7 to 9 people to be a healthy church. Less than that, you're in a challenge zone. You could be declining. You could actually be on the way towards death. So here's a question for you. When did your church last celebrate water baptisms? Are you focused on it? Do you look at it? Do you disciple for it? And it's important to understand that as people come to Christ, you disciple them into baptism. I remember going to a church, consulting with them, and they were having a great time. It was a great church. And I asked them, as part of the consulting, looking at the data, how many people got baptized in the last year? And they, no one. So I sat around a table with their leaders and say, hey, let's think about who you know in the church is not baptized. And they came up with name after name after name. And it wasn't much longer. And this is a church of about 100, around 100 people. They came up with up to 10 people who hadn't been baptized. I said, well, there you go. And you know what had happened? They'd just taken their eye off the ball. Maybe you've taken your eye off the ball and haven't baptized anyone recently. Well, now's the time to change that. Sign number 5. Before I mention that, have a look in the description below. There is a download there. Click on there, free download, a PDF that goes through 12 metrics to measure in a church, not just your attendance, not just your offerings or what your buildings are like, 12 metrics, 9 quantitative, numeric metrics, 3 qualitative, things that are hard to put a number on, but still are important to measure. Check that download out. It's in the description below. Here it is. Sign number 5, small group involvement. I think in a healthy church, over 50% of your adults should be connected and involved in a small group, actively participating in life together. You know, dying churches have rows of spectators. Healthy churches have circles of disciples, rows of people on Sunday, circles during the midweek, face to face compared to looking to the back of someone's head on Sunday, because iron sharpens iron, as Proverbs 27 says. And that means relationship, not just proximity, but connection and relationship. And if you have less than 50% in your groups of people connected to and involved in a group, well, you're in trouble. If you get down to 20 to 30%, you're in decline and in danger of dying. So groups that meet regularly, groups that are looking to even multiply, groups that are creating leaders, even I think in a healthy church, you need to be looking at making a big and strong place for all those groups to happen. So it's important to ask this Sunday, who's in meaningful community beyond this service? Check out your whole database and see how many adults, what are the percentage of adults in small groups. Maybe you can get it to 60%. I have 1 or 2 clients who've been at 70 or 80% remarkably, and you can do the same. So important to face all these truths. Now, what signs surprise you the most? Maybe number 3? Put a comment in below and check out this video on how to use small groups to improve discipleship in the life of your church.